Hey, happy Friday, everybody. So excited to see your faces on this brilliant, sunny, chilly day here in Chicago. It's fall. It is Friday, and it is a lovely, wonderful, warm day. You know what? I am just so excited. I can't even find my words. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. The month is almost over, and we absolutely wanted to shine a light on some tremendous individuals who have created creative entrepreneur businesses in the food business, visual arts, all sorts of things that are good to look at and good to eat. I am Sadia Davis, the director for the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. And before we launch into our talk today, I encourage you, when you have an opportunity, to check out our events page on our website, because the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship literally provides the resources and business knowledge for your sustainable success. And during this pandemic, we have all been forced to pivot, to shift, and to do whatever we need to do in order to survive, right? For our companies to thrive. And we provide monthly workshops, webinars, boot camps, and the CCE Global Industry Talks every Friday. So check out our website, get informed, stay motivated. Something that happens every Friday, I just want to know, well, it's not every Friday. It's the first of every month. Every Friday, the first of every month, is called Band Camp. And it's an opportunity to log on and to find out more about 100% of the proceeds that are purchased on that first Friday of every month go to artists. So that's another way to support musicians and support the work and the merchandise that they have. The other thing that I really wanted to bring up is that I'm super excited. The MCA here in Chicago, the Museum of Contemporary Art, is opening with Long Dream. It's an incredible list of visual artists, including Tony Lewis, who we had the pleasure and the honor of interviewing back in August. He's a visual artist that will be showcasing Plunder at the Museum of Contemporary Art. Now, due to COVID, unfortunately, everything is on Zoom, but thankfully we have Zoom and we can step into these rooms virtually and continue to be inspired and be engaged by the visual arts. So, speaking of arts and the creative industries, we are really excited to bring to you today 3 individuals with 3 dynamically different companies, but that all in a sense kind of have something uniquely in common. So Nena Ramirez, she is founder of Vegan Test Kitchen. Nena Ramirez is a homeschooling mother and a woman of many trades. She is a birth worker, sometimes often referred to as doula, market organizer, and has been in the Chicago service industry as a bartender for over 15 years. Inspired by building community, she has managed to build a safe space for vegan community to support local businesses. It is through these events that Nena hopes to grow the community into other cities and will be hosting outside of Chicago in the near future. She started Vegan Paradise, an all-vegan farmers market in collaboration with Bubbly Dynamics at the plant in Back of Yards, and she founded Chicago Vegan Test Kitchen in 2017 and has since curated, hosted, organized over 30 mini pop-up markets. Welcome, Nena. It's so good to see you.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at what you've been up to. This looks, Chicago Vegan. So while there's no sound, this is awesome. A time where individuals could be engaging publicly together with games. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
So what we're looking at right now is the original Chicago Vegan Test Kitchen before its evolution into Vegan Paradise. We used to host it at Emporium in Logan Square and also at Talia Hall in Pilsen.
Oh, sure.
What you're seeing, Emporium in Logan Square, is an arcade bar, and they were very kind enough to be able to let us host our event in their space. It was once a month. And yeah, it was open to the public, family friendly, free, just because we really promote accessibility. And I think because of that, it really helped the market grow to what it is today.
Well, speaking of what it is today with COVID, I mean, talk to me a little bit about, before we go there, I want to know more about you.
Okay.
What's your origin story? I mean, you were a bartender, a doula, and then let's get into the market. But talk to me a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, yeah, I've been in the service industry here in Chicago for a little over 15 years. Started off as a bartender, bartended in various neighborhoods in the city. From there, just kind of got really into promotions and marketing and just kind of learned my way of marketing on there. And then in between that time, I got pregnant. I have a 10-year-old daughter now, Kaya Sol. And when I was pregnant with her, that's what inspired me to look more into natural birth. And I started learning more about the disparities in birth, and I wanted to help. It was just another thing that I became passionate about. So in between bartending, I started studying to become a doula. And then after becoming a birth doula, I went into postpartum doula work. So I've been doing that for about 5 years now. And then with the bartending, I actually was bartending at Emporium. We're still closed due to COVID. And it was just on a Sunday. I was just getting really bored. And I was like, can I do a market or a pop-up in here? And the owners of the space of Emporium have just been really, really, really open to their workers just bringing in different events and ideas. So they let me, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just letting you guys know, vegans roll deep, get ready. And they weren't ready. And I told them, and we had a long line. The first market, it was just down the block. And people were just really excited and happy to just come and have something to go to. There was something called Vegan Vortex that was 2 years prior that had started, and that was like the vegan market at the time, and then they had stopped doing it. So it was about a year gap that there were no vegan markets, and there were so many different vendors and different businesses that needed a space altogether to really be featured and showcased. And I would see them in different markets, particularly in the South Side. I would see them just like at farmers markets and stuff, and I really wanted them to come up to the North Side. So I was just able to facilitate by bringing them all together. There's one vendor in particular, San Martin, good friends of mine, Nahum and Livia. And they were the ones who kind of helped me and inspired me reaching out to the other vendors. I reached out to them first and I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And Nahum's been in the market the whole area for such a long time. So he gave me a couple emails, and yeah, that's just how it started and how we started doing Chicago Vegan Test Kitchen. After the first one, everybody was like, you got to do another one. You got to do another one. So I was like, all right. And just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I know we're in a moment going to share some photos, but I got to track back to being a doula and then a postpartum doula. And I'm just curious, did you find a connection to food in terms of like, were you recommending certain foods, or did you find there was a difference with your doula business or childbirthing if the mothers ate vegan? I'm just curious if there's a connection, or did you make that?
I definitely separate the two, just because as a doula, as our code, we don't enforce anything. Like we're not doctors. We don't prescribe anything. We're not nutritionists, we wear that hat. So when I'm a doula, I wear my doula hat. When I'm in the markets, I wear my vegan hat. I don't judge or discriminate anybody for their lifestyle, dietary choices.
Yeah.
So as a doula, I do cook some vegan stuff. I'll be like, hey, this is really good. I'll make it, but it's not like, hey, go vegan. I'm not forcing that on them. So they're two totally different things that I work with.
So you're a multi-hyphenate, like so many entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So you were talking about, Yeah, these kitchens, which sound great, and even some of the markets. When you're talking about markets, are we talking about kind of like a farmer's market or a food market? I know there's a French market here in Chicago. Talk to us a little bit about that, maybe the difference.
So the difference with this is these are more like pop-up markets.
Okay.
We just bring our vendors into space. Yeah, you can see perfectly on there. Everybody has their own little booth, their little table set up. And we rotate the vendors in each market. Some vendors are like repeat vendors. They come all the time. Other vendors are there just once in a while. Some people, because it is a test kitchen, we try to really encourage the vendors to bring new things, test out things in the market, what works for them, what doesn't. And my vendors have been so great at doing that and providing a variety to our attendees.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, those are beautiful. I mean, hard for me not to address that, people are together, they have no masks on, which
that was
means it was pre-COVID, right?
The good old days.
I know.
And here we go.
We are making it happen with masks.
Yeah, and this is vegan paradise now. This is what it looks like now. People are still together. There's still, there's still community. They're supporting the market, which is really wonderful. And everybody's abiding by our rules. We have a couple rules enforced. We had to go, get approved by the city, have one-way entrance, a separate exit. I actually added temperature checks that wasn't necessary because it was outdoors, but I just wanted to be a little extra safe. And I'm glad that I have, because at a couple markets, we did have a couple folks coming in and they didn't even realize I had fevers. So we had to turn them away. But you can't be too careful now. So I just kind of did it. I thought it was a little, people were like, is that a little extra? And I was like, I'm already extra. This is fine. I'll go with it.
You would have made me happy. I would have been that person that's like, oh, that's so great. They have temperature checks. I mean, the restaurants have temperature checks that are outdoors when they were outdoors.
It takes a second. It's really, I don't think it's very invasive at all.
Well, it's wonderful that you were able to shift, right? And to move in the direction with everything. I mean, like I said earlier in the intro, we've all had to pivot and make changes. Talk to us a little bit about the plan. What happens now? Like, where are you? What do you need? I mean, what's going on?
So right now, we just wrapped up our last Vegan Paradise this past Sunday. And we had plans to do a holiday market at the plant as well, utilizing the whole building space, that whole idea. We were also doing RSVP entry. So in order to curtail large crowds coming in, we were just doing hourly RSVP so we can just have people in groups come through. So we were going to do that indoors, but now they shut everything down indoors. So we're kind of holding off. We're waiting to see what's going on. As of right now, CVTK, Chicago Vegan Test Kitchen, has built quite a presence on social media. So all of my vendors and stuff, I've just been kind of like pushing out their catering. We have a couple, Libby's Catering, for example, and San Martin have their Thanksgiving menus out already. So we're just kind of like reposting it on our page, just trying to draw business to them, and trying to figure out some other things that we can do in the meantime. We did want to host pop-up dinners as well, but now we can't eat indoors. So that kind of like, we just kind of have to wait and see what happens. If these restrictions are going to be lifted, if we're going to roll back, or if we're really going to plunge and go forward back into a quarantine. If that's the case, it's better to be safe than sorry. And we're just going to hold off. We do want to travel outside of Chicago. Currently, I'm looking at Nashville. And Nashville is a little bit warmer in the winter. So if we can do something outdoors there and COVID isn't, running rampant and causing more restrictions to pop up, probably January, February, we'll be in Nashville. And we're going to bring some of our vendors down there. So we'll integrate with some of the vendors in Nashville, but we want to bring a different flavor there. So my vendors down here are ready to roll. They're like, you're going where? We want to come with you. So it's great just building their brand and making them accessible to other cities nearby and just kind of helping them grow and thrive.
That's really fantastic. I like that idea of kind of following the sun. I mean, like that might be the way.
Living the dream.
I mean, you go where you kind of have to, where you can be outside. That's actually kind of brilliant. Well, one of the things that I would love is I would love to introduce you to the Good Food Accelerator. So I'll be sure to introduce you to them offline, but the Good Food Accelerator is a great opportunity. They were developed out of the family farmed umbrella, and they would be a tremendous resource as an institution that is providing awareness and maybe can just amplify what you guys are doing. We did an accelerator workshop with them back in August, but again, I think that they should know about you and you should know about them. So we'll be sure to share that in emails. It's been really wonderful having this conversation with you. Why don't you hang back? And we'll all get to a conversation after I speak to Ivan and Cristina. So we're very fortunate to have Ivan Vasquez with us. Excited. Ivan is a Mexican-American visual artist, born and based in Chicago. His work inspires reconnecting indigenous spirituality, reimagining traditional Chicano Aztec art. In his pieces celebrate modern day descendants and reconnecting, harnessing the energy that comes with it. Ivan's mission is to empower and educate youth with positive and relatable alternative lifestyles. The representation of music, or his representation of music. Gosh, it's Friday, you guys. Hang in there with me. The Chicago and hip hop culture in his work reflects what saved his life and his need to give all that he loves back to his community. Ivan's work has been featured in local grassroots community shows, events ranging from Jordan Brand, and he also has done some work for Juan Julio. Let's take a look. Hey, Ivan, let's take a look at his work.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, we had some really great sound there. This is beautiful.
It's one of the videos put together by my friend Luke.
Yeah, we can see it. Now, talk to us a little bit about, so are these murals that you guys are putting up?
They're just posters, like
Okay.
I guess you would call it hood marketing.
Okay. I like that.
I give them out at shows and people take it upon themselves to put them up sometimes. And I mean, it's fun to do and to get the word out there, you know, like something, I don't know, I've always loved Sade since a kid. So to like see it on the street, it's pretty cool, you know, it's like exciting.
Yeah, you and me both. The music behind this, for some reason, it's not playing, but it is Sade's music. It is just wonderful, and I love this video because it really kind of shows, you know, everybody in action as you're putting this work up.
That's not me, by the way.
Oh, okay, good. So that's why the person's face is blinked out.
Even though it sort of looks like me a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's not. No. Sorry, I'm wearing a mask just because I'm in a public library.
Oh, I'm very aware. It's okay.
Are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
But yeah, I started doing this art, you know, like growing up in Chicago, the hip hop scene is very alpha male. And I guess, I know as a kid, I was a soft spoken one in the graffiti crew or in the breakdancing crew. And I guess, you know, I've always thought that was like a weakness, like that divine femininity I had, like, but little did I know it was my my superpower. So I guess she symbolizes like me embracing it 100%. And I guess she was always that artist that the toughest of dudes could admit to loving, you know, like. So yeah, I guess that's sort of what that symbolizes, and that's how I really got into it. And the painting was really originally a painting I did at a Cumbia Sasso, which was like a community event we used to have here in Chicago. And I originally painted it just for me, not really for any reasoning at all, but just to maybe put it in my house one day. And it got a lot of love online. And ever since, I just been building off of it little by little.
Beautiful. Well, I love you mentioning tapping into your, we are all tapping into your feminine. We are all masculine and feminine, and finding that balance, and to be able to find a type of Buddha, right? Or someone as iconic as Sade is really, I can imagine, extremely motivating and inspiring and all of that good stuff. Not only does her music bring forth a lot of, good feelings and all the things, but she's also beautiful.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Even to this day, I had an opportunity. Have you ever seen her live?
Yeah, I caught her at the United Center. That was what, like 6 years ago or
Yeah,
so.
you were there. I was there too.
That was,
yeah.
That was a good time. Even though I was sitting way high up in the nosebleeds, I was there,
Man, it doesn't matter. I mean, just to be in that energy. So we're talking a little bit about building community, and it's, Hispanic Heritage Month. I don't know, anybody can see me, but I'm really happy to have on this really beautiful top.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, the colors.
I really should have found out before I came on today where exactly it's from. Maybe I'll find out while we're having our talk, but it's from somewhere in Latin America. A friend of mine travels all over the world, so I need to find out exactly where it's from. But I do this because not only do you have beautiful works, right? And we're going to take a look at some more of your works, but you have things for sale too, which I'm really excited to show. So I need you to talk up just a little bit more so I can hear you. But this is the image that we were just watching you put forth. Talk to us a little bit about this. It's beautiful.
I guess for me, I've always been into maze art. So that's where I get that line work from. Like as a kid, I would love playing with the mazes and like the back of the newspapers or just little maze books. So that's where I get that line work from. A lot of people think it's like, is it Arabic or something like that? I'm like, no, it's just like like linear artwork.
Yeah.
And the Queen of Diamonds card is like inspired from the Diamond Life album.
Okay.
And it's just my play on the album.
Love it.
And most of my art is all Chicago inspired. Like I get a lot of energy from the city.
Mm-hmm.
And
are they telling you to be quiet in the library?
Yeah, they are. The library lady just told me it's okay. Yeah, they closed the conference rooms on me because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
So here's what we'll do. I'll come down to your level so I don't seem as loud. Everyone, Ivan is at the Chicago Library. But let's talk about this art. I like this one in the middle. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. The one in the middle with the little boys.
I guess it's a piece about gentrification, and I'm from the north side where I've seen it turn from gentrification to I don't even know what it is now. Basically, it's seeing my friends all move out, how they sandblast or how they water pressurize, wash the buildings, put new windows, and all of a sudden they double the rent.
Wow.
I've seen it happen on the north side since being a kid, so just seeing it happen over here is just like, it's sad, but it's sad. It is what it is, like I really admire the youth for fighting against it and being informed and all that.
Ooh.
But yeah,
this is deep. Is that the flag with the gun at the tip?
Yeah, it's like it's a play on like a review, like with some of those like city reviews. So it's, the name of the painting is called 2 Stars, referencing like 4-star city. And that's my feeling. Like gang violence and systematic violence is all makes a city not as great. In a way, growing up here, sadly, a lot of us have that in common, where we have all lost like a best friend or a family member, and at a young age. So that's basically what this piece is about. I just remember high school days. Every year there was some kid that was killed, and we had the counselors come in and talk to us. So my art is really all about that, like trying to
That's
save lives. Me personally, I was lucky enough to have hip hop culture to help save me.
mm-hmm.
I started out breakdancing when I was like 10 years old, and a couple of my friends that didn't um, breakdance are not here anymore. Just didn't have that outlet. So uh,
Yeah.
a lot of my work is dedicated to my friend Lewis, who was shot in the Cragen Park playground when he was 17.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. Sometimes the hardest things that happen to us do inspire some of the most incredible works. And I just want to salute, your work. And absolutely, I mean, inner city blues, that's interesting. I'm really liking your visuals are pretty stunning.
Thank you, thank you. I try to preach that with my art, like how tell the youth like you could still be a killer, but just choose your weapon wisely. And that's why like a lot of the characters have like a trumpet instead of a gun, or like it's positive outlets and all that. Like they
Right.
they really they really go a long way. At least for me, as a kid. So I'm just trying to give it all back.
Yeah, well, I'm just kind of curious because, we're in the middle of a pandemic, obviously. I really appreciate you making a hustle to the library. I understand there were some tech difficulties, but we all have to make changes in the midst of the moment, right? So how are you as an artist staying motivated? How are you doing?
For me, I guess time. There's extra time to create, and for me, that's really key because I'm one of those. I was always one of those kids that could daydream a whole adventure in my head. So I have all these ideas in my head of paintings I want to do. So it's really easy to stay home and create for me, and it also keeps me sane. So I do
Right.
miss. Don't get me wrong. I do miss the community events and shows and all that. But we got to do what we got to do. And I think now more than ever, it's important to create content and art that really helps people and keeps us unified and keeps us connecting to each other, because that's what art is all about, is connecting. And so for me, it's been really cool just to have extra time to stay home and create.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting that you say that because a lot of, visual artists have more time. The arts in general, but specifically visual arts, maybe even, no, I'd say visual arts might be the one where like you can isolate, except for when individuals have larger studios and require more people. You really are in it's an opportunity for you to take advantage of this time. And we are really looking forward to everything that you put forth. So, like I said earlier, you can actually buy his works, and I would encourage everyone to do so. It's my understanding that you can do so on your website. Is that correct?
Yeah, I really don't have much left because
Okay,
everything is
people
small
can.
batch, but I have a little something something on there. People could always message me too, and I put out a little something every couple months. And
Yeah, I mean, if we still want to promote it because as long as it's something that individuals can purchase and that can help, um,
I really
you
appreciate.
yeah. And even to say that it's sold out, coming soon would be, more people
Yeah.
keep checking in because I would wear a mask with Sade on it. Like, in fact,
Yeah.
I was teasing our producer saying I would have, I almost put my hair in a ponytail for you today. Uh, I had those days
I
back
see
in the
the
day.
resemblance. I see the.
Back in the day, where I'd wear a tight ponytail, but I just didn't have time to do my edges, so. But I love these. Wow, I really like these masks. These are gorgeous.
Thank you, thank you.
It's a good way to provide protection and to show support for our visual artist.
I
Again,
got more coming in a couple of weeks. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, we will be sure to keep, putting your website up and making sure that individuals know. I mean, look, a sweatshirt, keep you warm during the winter. The holidays are coming up.
yeah, I have some stuff
Really,
definitely for the holidays.
yeah, that's great.
But I really appreciate you guys showing the website and all that.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely want people to know how to find you, know how to keep connected with you. And, as the director for the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, much like we encourage everybody, I encourage even you to keep abreast of what we're doing as far as like providing information around resources for artists and financial opportunities and grants that come up. Generally, we push that out on our socials. And also, you should know this, that Congress is working on a very specific plan for the creative economy. And one of our CCE advisors, Brianne Wells, will be communicating that information to us so that we always can inform you on how to access some of the funds that are there to support you. Literally, the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois kind of didn't realize that there was a whole creative economy that they needed to be sure to support. And now everybody's on their radar. So hang tight with us. Do you have time to kind of stick around for the group conversation at the end?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, it's really wonderful to have an opportunity to speak to people like Ivan Vasquez. I mean, his work is tremendous. And as you can see, there are wearables. So I would encourage you to check out his work on his website. Now, speaking of incubators and co-working spaces and maker spaces, we are thrilled to have Cristina Gutierrez, co-founder of the Honeycomb Network. Cristina is the co-founder of the Honeycomb Network, a certified Ayurvedic Health Counselor. She's talking my language, herbalist, educator, and community organizer. Mexican-American mother of two, born and raised on the northwest side of Chicago. She specializes in helping folks learn the language of the body and make their own medicine in her wellness courses online, while simultaneously working to create spaces for accessible wellness around town. Oh, I love it. She is the founder. Wait, there's more. Hi, Cristina. How are you?
I had myself muted. Sorry. Hello. I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you too. You do a lot, but I'm really curious about your Honeycomb Network. I hear it's a beautiful space. We're going to take a brief look.
Yeah.
With a bigger screen. There we go. Gorgeous. Let's pull out on full screen for this so that we can really see it. Beautiful. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about you in terms of your origin story. I mean, to open a co-working space and to get to that place, I would love for our viewers to understand a little bit about who you are, what inspired you to do that, what did you do before that?
Sure. So I've worked primarily in most of my adult life in service industry, much like Nena, like 14, 15 years working in restaurants, serving, managing. I had a stint as a bartender, wasn't so good at that though. Through there, I kind of really built a large network of people and got a lot of good experience in learning how to be in service. But I've always been, a very introverted, spiritual person. And so through that, I found my path as someone that wanted to study, healing arts. I found my way to Ayurveda through yoga, and for the last 8 years or so, I've been practicing Ayurveda as a health counselor, making custom formulas, doing one-on-one consultations, teaching courses, things like that. And that connects to co-working through a long stretch, right? I partnered up with a good friend of mine, Denise Ruiz, almost 5 years ago now. She is a creative designer of Madre de Perla Designs. And so with her background in arts, my background in holistic medicine, we created something called Brunch Botánica, which was like a monthly and then eventually quarterly pop-up market that also had accessible wellness workshops. So we built a community around wellness through that for the last several years, and always wanted to have our own space in order to, be able to expand and grow and work in ways that we're unlimited. We had certain limitations working at different places around the city. So our long-term dream was to always have a space of our own. And it happened upon us at the beginning of this year, right before COVID hit, of course. And I, didn't really have intentions of starting a new business this year because I've been working on Ayurvedic Elements, which is my own brand for the last several years, also building books, Brunch Botánica, and also have 2 children, 6 and 2. So my life was already pretty full. But we happened upon a space on Paseo Boricua, which was really unexpected. For people like us that don't have big bank accounts, funders, or even the want to get loans or anything like that, to get in bed with loans and things of that nature, we never imagined we would get a space east of California, and it just so happened that we came across this space at Division in Washtenaw, and it was basically something we just couldn't pass up. So we turned to our community and basically built an entire business that is 100% community funded, which like till this day makes me emotional because, we came into this with, like I said, we don't have big bank accounts, and to be able to lean on our community and use a platform called I Fund Women to do crowdfunding was incredible. We had a response that basically allowed us to open a 3,400 square foot space that not only has space for co-working, but also houses a boutique apothecary where I can have my formulas, sell bulk herbs, also bring in other, BIPOC herbalists and makers that have different self-care formulas, wellness items, books, adornments, all kinds of things that I think uplift the spirit and make us feel well, in addition, like inwardly and outwardly.
Right. So let me ask you, in the video we saw, is there a storefront area?
Yeah, so the apothecary portion is just at the front of the space. The co-working is our bread and butter ultimately, but like I said, we've built our community. My business partner and I, Denise, have built our community on wellness from the beginning. So we are very much a holistic co-working space in the sense that we provide wellness services. I do health counseling here. We also have a therapist on staff, Dorian Ortega, who runs Fly Radical Therapy. In addition to, like I said, having our boutique apothecary where we have, formulas, herbal formulas, things that can help people approach like holistic lifestyle more easily and more accessibly.
Yeah, let me ask you, when you say formulas, are they like room sprays? Is it moisturizer? Is it things to cook with?
It's all of the above, actually. So herbal formulas is really just a blanket term for how herbs can be blended together. So we have tinctures for sleep. We have immune support formulas. We have something really unique called Ayurdobo, which is grown and made on a Ayurvedic farm in Puerto Rico called Finca Pajuil. And so the owner of that farm is a friend of mine that I met totally happenstance as well while traveling in Puerto Rico. And so she sends us every homegrown formulas that are for cooking, that are for, again, immune support, stuff for diabetes. So we have herbs that cater to all different kinds of symptoms and like body types. in addition to having them available in like all these diverse ways, things you can put on your skin, in your food, things that you can take or sip. So again, the goal is to make herbs and kind of holistic medicine as accessible as possible and as user-friendly as possible, while also creating space for people to, navigate their creative businesses or just work mobily, whatever it is that they need.
That's really wonderful. So for individuals who don't know Ayurveda or who are not familiar, can you talk about the doshas? I happen to know that I am Vata Pitta, and I happen to know that, when they are out of balance, certain things happen, whether it's dry skin or you can't sleep or you have like constipation or whatever. So could you walk through the doshas so everybody kind of gets an idea of what that means? Because I think what you do is amazing, and it's beautiful to be able to shine a light on what some of those specifics are so individuals can do a little research on their own.
Sure. Ayurveda is medicine that comes from India. So it's a 5,000-year-old medicine practice from India. And it bases its information on understanding elements in nature and elements in our body. So what Saudia, that's how you pronounce your name? Yes? Yeah, Saudia is referring to the doshas are how we understand the body based on our elements. So there are 3 doshas and 5 elements. The elements are fire, air, earth, water, and ether, aka space. So our body types have all 5 of these elements, and they break down into 3 doshas or body-mind types. The first is Vata, which she mentioned, and it's made of air and ether. The second is Pitta, which is fire and water. That's my dosha. And then Kapha is earth and water. So we have all 3 doshas all the time, but we are each born with a unique proportion of them. So for instance, I'm Pitta, Saudia's Vata and Pitta. You can be any combination of these. And what's important to know is what is the most prevalent in your body. I'll use myself as an example. I'm Pitta, which means I have a lot of fire in my body, meaning that I'm typically running warm. I generally, if I'm going to have imbalances, they're going to be heat related. Holding heat in the liver, in the blood, it can manifest into the skin issues, eye issues, things of that nature. And the reason why it's important to know your dosha or the elements in your body is because you want to be able to introduce things that balance those elements. So for instance, if I know that I run hot and my imbalance has to do with fire, when I'm off balance, I need to introduce things that balance fire, things that are cooling to my nature. And if we're talking about food, that could be stuff like cucumbers, cilantro, blueberries. If you're looking at herbs, you can, think about mint or lavender, chamomile, things that are softening and cooling. And that translates to lifestyle, translates to color therapy, it translates to touch therapy. So Ayurveda is a really beautiful access point to understanding your body and understanding what you need to balance your body. And the goal is to just ultimately be in a state of balance that allows you to make decisions, life moves from a more grounded place. Because Ayurveda isn't necessarily a cure-all. It's basically a way to just understand a little bit more clearer how the body functions, how it functions when it's in balance or out of balance, and what to do to help bring it into equilibrium.
That's awesome.
And that looks different for every single person.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. It's rare that I get to hear individuals speak about it. I happen to think, any way that we can tune in or at least connect with the physical body is whether it's through Chinese medicine and they look at your tongue, or Ayurveda, which is a holistic, like you said, access point to be able to figure out some symptoms. I mean, sometimes, and I won't go into details or make any wild statements about Western medicine, but it's just not treating the symptoms, but actually kind of figuring out the symptoms from the inside out. And it's one of the things that I admire so much about Ayurveda, and have had the pleasure of having an Ayurvedic physician heal myself, actually, when I was living in New York. So I'm really excited. So now Honeycomb, because I just feel like We've had, visual arts earlier with Ivan, and Nena with her incredible vegan test kitchen. I mean, are these companies that could technically be housed inside of the Honeycomb?
Of course. Nena and I have actually already talked about this.
Well, good.
Things like Chicago Vegan Test Kitchen could happen here. The reason, part of how those kinds of businesses could be incorporated in the Honeycomb Network is because we have so much space. So we have, like I said, close to 3,500 square feet. If you can see behind me, this is like the larger event space that could host a pop-up market like Chicago Vegan Test Kitchen, for instance.
Nice.
We also do artist residencies where we could house someone like Ivan, for instance, who can put up art here, teach workshops. Right now, our current artist resident is Sam Kirk, who has done a mural here, has created, a 4-piece print series that's exclusive to the Honeycomb Network, and then is also teaching workshops on, how to do proposals, how to build contracts as an independent artist. And so our artist residency is very much like interactive in the sense that like we want you to produce here and we want you to showcase here, but we also want folks to share their journey for other people so that they're not reinventing the wheel when they come into their own personal business, whether they're just starting or, at whatever level artists are at. It's always helpful to hear the journeys of others so that we can build together. And that's very much what the Honeycomb Network is about. We're not just the Honeycomb, it's like we're the Honeycomb Network because we are very intentionally trying to build a network of folks, and specifically space for Black, Indigenous people of color to showcase their brilliance. This is the one place in Chicago where we are exclusively centering the work of Black, Indigenous people of color until we see that same uplifting of our work reflected back to us from the outside world. And so that's like a big part of our mission, is to make sure that we're highlighting the brilliance that's here within our communities here in Chicago. We're one of the most segregated cities around. And so our goal is to really be a bridge where we can connect, North and South, East and West, Black and Brown. How can we really be that intersectional place for folks to come and feel safe and have an opportunity and a platform to showcase whatever brilliance they have, whether you're an herbalist, an artist, a pop-up market organizer. We really want to be the place where folks can come and connect and find other people to network with to build whatever dreams they have. Because right now is the time. We need everyone to bring their skills to this evolutionary time in the history of the world.
Well, let's connect. I mean, let's bring everybody to talk at the table at the same time.
With my friends.
So, Nena, we want you to, be successful in what you do. And is it Ivan or Ivan?
It's Ivan.
Ah, Ivan. Thank you. I got a little hint. Cristina said it, started to say it. I was like, wait, let's get that right. So, you guys, this is a really wonderful opportunity. I mean, to have you all, thank you for showing up today and for sharing your gifts and your talents and your business, those gifts and talents that you have translated into a business. One of the things that the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship really believes in is reducing redundancy and filling gaps, right? And then amplifying those companies that are out there that are in line with really shared space, meaning, Cristina mentioned that this city is historically and notoriously known for being segregated. And we really want to make sure that, yes, if there's the Honeycomb Network on the north, is it northwest side? I'm not from
Northwest side, Humboldt Park.
Yeah, northwest side, that it will absolutely have a reciprocal dynamic relationship, whether it's with the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. We're going to tell people about you guys. And then there's maybe Amped Kitchen or the Hatchery, where these may have been historically not as known and therefore may seem quite closed, but where we can start to aggregate amongst each other. Mm-hmm. So that we actually are sharing resources and making sure that everybody's growing. This region is remarkably filled with incredible talent. And so we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're shining a light on all of the resources that exist. Now, you guys, though, talk a little bit about, I mean, what's going on? Yes, you guys know each other. I'm so happy to see that you're all here together.
What's up, family?
Hey. Yeah, the brilliance that Nena brings to Chicago is very dear to me. She helped me deliver my second baby.
Oh, it's like that deep.
Yeah,
It's that deep. That close.
And I'm honored to be here amongst these ladies. They've been doing it a long time. You know,
Yeah.
I'm new to it, so I'm excited to be here. I'm like listening and learning. I'm like,
Ivan, you've been vibing for a long time, though. You've always had that energy. He brings it on the dance floor.
yeah, you're like one of the sweetest, best people I know.
Yes.
I miss it. I miss the sweaty
I
dance.
know, yeah.
Oh man, Yvonne, I wish we had some video of you breaking it down and getting down on the dance floor. I mean, that just would have chopped off Friday.
I'm glad we don't. I'm glad we
We have it in our hearts. We
Yes.
know it.
Oh wow. So, well, listen, is there anything that anybody has? Let me do this. Each of you, if you could give 3 tips to a creative entrepreneur out there, they could be in business, they could be just starting a business. What would your 3 tips be? Starting with Yvonne, and we just need to have you get a little closer to the computer so we can hear you.
Okay, 3 tips. Something that I did very late in life was believe in myself, invest, and keep learning. Those are my 3 tips of success, and they really, really do make a big difference. But those would be my 3 tips.
Believe in yourself, invest where?
In every sense, you know, financially and just to make sure, you know, whatever you're putting out is like high quality.
Nice. And then nice. Okay.
Sorry, I got the security here.
Security. Oh no, not security.
No.
Ahorita le voy a pagar, okay?
All right. Yvonne is making an investment and he is taking risks to be on this. So Yvonne, if you have to check out, we want you to be safe.
I do,
We
yeah,
don't
I
want
wanna-
to put you in jeopardy. So you feel free to check out.
Okay, thank you so much.
Always in trouble, Ivan.
Sorry.
Take care.
Thank
Stay
you.
around.
We don't need the brother to, oh, well,
See, that's why I'm trying to create safe space
Exactly.
here.
He could have been up in there. He could have been at the Honeycomb.
So the Honeycomb Network can house you in a safe space. Talk to us a little bit about 3 tips for success that you would give, Cristina.
First tip, remember what you came here for. You know, I talk a lot about following your pleasure and your passion to your purpose so that you can find liberation. So I always try to, you know, talk to folks about remembering what your purpose here is. And then the second tip is, you know, cut out everything that's not everything that's not pushing you towards your purpose. Because your purpose is here to liberate you from all of the, you know, things that are heavy in the world. And then my third tip is you don't have to do everything alone. You know, find community. I didn't think that I could start this business at all. I, in fact, said no to my business partner when she brought up this opportunity. I was like, we're not ready. But if I could be of any example that when you turn to your community and you're in your purpose, people will come to support you and the universe will conspire to support you. So remember what you came here for. Cut everything out of your life that's getting in the way of you finding or, you know, pursuing your passion. And then remember that you have people in your corner, whether you see them or not. When you're in alignment, they will all show up when the time is right.
That is absolutely right. All right. I'm feeling it over here. Nena.
Yeah, kind of to piggyback off of that, I kind of vibe with what Christina's saying. With that community, always ask for help. You know, that's something that I've struggled with, you know, being somebody who does a lot of things, you know, and kind of growing up in a culture where like the woman does everything and we handle it because we're strong, independent women and we've got this. And do we have it? We totally have it. Should we always do everything all at once and run ourselves dry? We shouldn't. So don't be afraid to ask for help is my number one advice that I always struggle to this day still work with, because it's just kind of like I get very almost anal over like, this is how it's happening, and this is my baby, and it needs to be done like this. And just learning recently in the past like 2 years with Chicago Vegan Test Kitchen, just asking for help with my social media. I hired somebody to do social media during our vendor spotlights, and that took a huge load stressor off of me, and just investing into having that help and understanding that not to let money be a barrier, which is my second advice. Don't let money be a barrier to you to do the things that you want, because if you're doing something that you love, it's just going to come there to you. As long as you're working for it and it's something that you love and your heart's in the right place, don't be afraid of it. Don't let money be that barrier. There's help out there. There's businesses like the Creative Center for Entrepreneurship. There's so many things out there that are willing to help folks start from the ground up. You just got to put in the work. And that's probably 3. Put in the work. You can't be lazy. You have to go for it. If you don't go after what you want, you're never going to get it. If you don't step forward, you're always going to be in the same place. And always ask. Don't be afraid to ask, because if you don't ask, then you're never going to get it. So you have to ask, and just put out that intention into the universe in order to manifest it to happen in your reality. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and be like, why am I not getting this? Well, you didn't ask for it. Use your words. The same thing that, you tell little kids, use your words, ask for what you want. It's the same thing. And it's so simple, but it works.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm one of those people, I'll chime in with you, where I have had to grow into the space of letting things go, trusting and knowing that if you bring somebody on, they've got all the tools to execute it. I don't like to be micromanaged. So technically I do my best not to micromanage. I generally let creatives step in, but it has taken time because we want to make sure our brand identity is right and everything shines bright. So I'm going to take a look at some of our comments here. Kayla said, love it. Oh, she's excited. Guerrilla Public Art. Ooh, Nena is so incredible. A true healer. I'm already feeling healed already over here. I'm just saying, and then, you guys have been really, Cristina, your space looks incredible. Oh, thanks for the motivation. Thank you so much for, leaving some really wonderful notes to share with our guest here. But I will say that everybody today has talked about building your community. And Cristina, you really talked about the importance of that relationship with the community, and not to say relying on the community, but that reciprocal dynamic of believing in the community believing back, and then being in balance. So I am here to celebrate the fact that even though you didn't think now is the time, the universe put it forth that now is the time for the Honeycomb Network. And that, Nena, listen, we're going to make sure that whether you're following the sun for some open food, events and markets, I want to make sure that you guys, please be sure to follow not just their companies, but check in with the Honeycomb Network. Pull up a space, provided that I know during this COVID time at the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, we have space for people to work socially distance. I'm sure Cristina has the same. So be sure to check in on their websites, keep up with them, check in on Ivan's work, and some people say cop some of his wearables, buy some of it, and just lets everybody keep everybody successful and engaged. Thank you so much for taking your time to be with us.
Yeah, thank
you. And we look forward to another Friday where we have thought leaders and creative entrepreneurs sharing their gifts, sharing with you some of the resources and tips that have helped pave their way for success and sustainable business growth. I'm Sadia Davis with the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. We are all doing our best to survive this uncertain time. I recommend you guys just, wear a mask when you can, socially distance, stay warm, do your best to stay inside, stay safe, be kind to one another, and have a great weekend.